right, boys, we are back, and it's time to head into the second offseason with our San Jose Sharks. After losing in round one, haven't been making too many videos lately. I've been pretty sick, but also the Olympic Games, my sleep schedule has been all over the place. But now that the Olympics are over, my cold is kind of going away. I might have to blow my nose a few times in this video, but it's time to start making consistent videos again, all right? So don't worry about anything. So we'll get back into the San Jose Sharks GM mode. Year 2 did not go the way we wanted. This was the year we were supposed to win the Stanley Cup, and we went out in horrible fashion, losing 4 straight after taking the first game. It was looking good after that. We even sized up their roster. We had, I'm not going to say, an amazing advantage, but we matched every line that they had. Their goaltender was the same, but they just pulled it out, man. We couldn't score goals in the last 2 games. I mean, games 2 and 3, we had 3 goals for, but Nemo didn't pull it together for us. And in games 3, we had 4 goals for, but we allowed 5, all right? I forget which game it was. It was either game 2 or game 3, where we had like a 2-goal lead in the third or like a 3-goal lead in the third, and they tied it up and they won in overtime. So that was like the turning point right there. And Niemi could have won that game for us. Lost that game, and we weren't able to come back from it. Getting shut out too also in games 4 and 5. You can kind of look at our offense for that. And I also think that, last year it wasn't a problem. But this year, with Brett Burns getting injured, I think that hurt our offense just a little bit. A pulled groin. But we didn't have much depth to replace Brett Burns, right? He was our first-line right wing. And Brendan Gallagher really didn't step up for us either. Man, my nose is so freaking stuffy. So what we want to do is we want to have a solid offseason. I want to go over the options with you guys. All right, actually, hang on. Let me blow my nose quickly. For fuck's sake. All right. So, okay, so yeah, I know. It's not a great year. The owner doesn't like it. It was cup or nothing. I agree with that. So we have to decide what we want to do here with the San Jose Sharks. If we had a little bit more of a competitive year, made it to the third round again and it was like a Game 7 loss, or if we made it up to the Stanley Cup Finals and we lost, if it was a little bit closer, I wouldn't mind maybe holding on to Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau. But with a year like that, getting kicked out in the first round, and with their age getting higher and higher, it is a smart idea to make those trades and to not rebuild, but to reload, all right? Because if we're going to go on for the full-on rebuild where we trade away and, we draft heavy this year, get a bunch of young rookies, then you might as well trade away guys like Kevin Shattenkirk and Logan Couture. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather reload where we're still a playoff team for next year and Logan and Shattenkirk can be our 1-2 punch on offense and defense, right? But I was seeing some comments, trade Joe Thornton for the first overall pick, get Connor McDavid. If I do that, right? Connor McDavid, he'll still take like 2 or 3 years to become NHL ready. And in that time, you have Logan Couture who's ready to lead a team to the Stanley Cup, and he's just kind of floundering there on the first line, right? If we trade away our top guns for prospects. So I'd like to find players kind of like Kevin Shattenkirk when we traded for him. Guys who are 23, 24, 25 years old, who may only be like a top, or a second line forward or a top 4 defenseman, but maybe in 1 year or 2 years at most, they turn into that first line player. That's the kind of player that I'm looking for. I'm not, totally against drafting a good prospect, but I want to come back and be a playoff team for next year again. I don't want to completely rebuild here. All right, we got Logan, we got Kevin Shattenkirk. You use those 2 guys as your 1-2 punch, one on offense, one on defense. We got to find a goalie because Niemi kind of shit the bed for us there in games. I forget if it was 2 or 3. But he had a routine in place and he let it go, slipped through his fingers. So the Nashville Predators are your Stanley Cup champions. Very interesting. Remember, this is year 2 now. My roster update was only for year 1. Year 2, anything can go. All right? Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to blow my nose again. God damn it, man. This is pissing me off. It won't go away. Here, skip that. There you go. All right, let's see how long that one lasts for now. All right, so the prospects game. No, we'll skip that. Blah, blah, blah. Retirements is going to be interesting. I don't think Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau are going to retire, but Dan Boyle. Remember we signed him to like a 2-year deal. I would definitely trade Dan Boyle if he's still here. So let's go down. Chara, Aginla. All right, we're losing some big-time players. Datsuk's gone. Alfredson's gone. All right. Timonen's gone. Keep going down here. San Jose. Yeah, there it is. Dan Boyle. So we lost our defenseman, Dan Boyle. We weren't able to make that trade. But you know what? That's all right. I what's it called? I gambled on Dan Boyle. I was okay with him retiring this year. I wanted to use him for a Stanley Cup run, and we got kicked out in the first round, and he retired. So not the greatest management of Dan Boyle right there. And then the goalies, Nabokov. At least he got to retire on the San Jose Sharks. That's good enough for him. All right. So we are up here, and now, I don't know if I actually want to go into the draft in this video. Again, we're going to get into more consistent videos, but I want to do like a whole prep, because this is the most important day right now. We have the trading assets that we need to reload this team, and I only have one shot with them, right? So I don't want to throw them away. I want you guys to help me out with this. Honka, Shattenkirk, yeah. I'm just checking to see if anybody dropped a potential. So we got Logan is up there, Nylander, yep. Honka, yeah, Shattenkirk. Gallagher still got his green, that's good. Simonauer still got his green. Go down here. I think that was it, right? Tyratty, no, he's not a good player in this roster update. Okay, and then goaltenders, let's see, Niemi. Yeah, 85. Might be a smart idea to maybe get like an 87, 88, if we can, you know? Or somebody who's going to become that in like a year or two. Damn, man, my freaking nose. Holy shit, hang on. All right, so when you look at the players that we have to trade, right? Joe Thornton, we signed him. We can actually use him for another year and then trade him. But he was 92 overall. Now he's dropped to 90 overall, and he's got 4-star potential, right? He's on his way down, like one more year especially. And Patrick Marleau, 35 years old. I think he dropped as well. I think he was like 88 or 89. Maybe he was 87. I can't remember, actually. But he's starting to drop. So actually, it might be the right time to trade these guys. They still have like 3 years left on their deal, so we can hold on to them, but I'd rather trade them this year, all right? So you can trade away Joe. You got to hold on to Logan and Shattenkirk, 26 years old. See what I mean about these guys? They're not 22. They're not 23. They're ready to, keep on being a competitive players, right? So we want to give these guys the best chance to be a competitive team for next year. I don't want to trade for just prospects who are like 18, 19 years old. I want like 23, 24, 25-year-olds. All right, so Marleau, Thornton we can trade. Vlasic, I wouldn't mind holding on to Vlasic. He's got a pretty good contract for a few more years at 86 overall. Perfect top 4 defenseman. Pavelski, we could trade Pavelski, but he's 30. We could use him as a second-line center for a few more years, right? Brett Burns, same thing. We could use him as a second-line right winger or a first-line right winger. Irwin, yeah, Demers. Trade away Demers. No, we can hold on to Demers. Man, my freaking nose. I probably sound so congested right now. It's ridiculous. Chiarelli hasn't grown at all. Okay, that's fine. And Niemi, we can't trade Niemi. So it's really only Big Joe and Patrick Marleau, but we can get a lot back for that. The decision is, do we want to get back a draft pick, or do we want to just go for a player who's in the NHL right now? All right? So we got that taken care of. You know what? I got to blow my nose again. I'll make sure to skip them all. Don't worry. Won't gross you guys out. All right. Now, I forgot to actually check this before we went farther. I should actually just check out the player stats of the playoffs, see who did good for us. It was only one round, so we can see who performed and who didn't perform. All right, so forwards, you got Logan with 4 points, 3 goals in 5 games played. So Logan actually pulled his weight. Joe Thornton, 3 points in 5 games. It's not bad. It's not the greatest, but it's not horrible. Patrick Marleau, 2 goals in 5 games played. It's a good amount of goals, but the points weren't there. Vladimir Sobotka, 2 goals. That's good for a third liner. Brett Burns, only 2 points. So, that first line, 4 points, 3 points, 2 points. It could have been a little bit better. It was kind of there, but our second line actually was not there at all. Joe Pavelski, only 1 assist. Brendan Gallagher, only 1 assist. So that was the big mistake. Patrick Marleau, 2 points. Pavelski, 1, and Gallagher, 1. That hurt us right there. All right, there's the forwards. Defensemen, Vlasic 2. Boyle might have been our point leader in the defense, but we can't see it anymore because he retired. Shattenkirk only 1 point. That's not good enough. And goalies, Niemi 2.70 goals against average. That's not good enough. And a save percentage of 90.97. Yeah, that we just didn't play good enough against the Vancouver Canucks. It's as simple as that. All right. So there's the player stats. We'll do awards. I should always just remember to do this stuff for you guys. So the Nashville Predators did not allow Chicago to go 3 years in a row. Presidents, though, went to Chicago. Clarence S. Campbell. So it was Nashville versus the Rangers in the final. Art Ross goes to Sidney Crosby. Hart Memorial, Steven Stamkos. James Norris, Matt Carl. Lady Byng, Patrick Kane. Calder Memorial, Alexander Barkov. Conn Smythe, Pekka Rinne. Vezina Trophy, Antti Niemi. Niemi won the Vezina. Yeah, okay. William M. Jennings, Carey Price, Bill Masterton, Johnny Boychuk, Frank J. Selke, Pavel Datsyuk, Ted Lindsay, Steven Stamkos, Maurice Richard, Steven Stamkos, and there you go. All right? So that's that taken care of. Now, we can take a look at what rookies are going in the top 5. Again, I don't think I want to go into the draft in this video. I want to allow you guys to see who's available. I know we still have some time in this video, but I want to go through each one of the team's trading block to see if there's any young guns that are available. All right? So it looks like the first overall pick, yeah, they're all going to be skaters this year. No goalies in the top 5. So if you guys were thinking about a goalie that we could draft, to replace Niemi, it's not going to happen. We have Chiarelli that we hope gets pretty good pretty quick, but, that's not a guarantee. Connor McDavid, he would be a great first overall pick, obviously, if we wanted to go for him. But you guys got to think, right? If you want to go after a Connor McDavid, it would almost be smart to instead trade, not to trade Joe Thornton, but to trade Logan Couture, because they're the same type of player, a center playmaker who is expected to be a first liner in the next 3 years, Logan, he'll be like 28, 29 years old. He could still play the first line for like another 5 years after that. Connor McDavid, I actually don't remember if I made him better. I think I might have made him slightly better with this roster update. It's been so long ago now, I forget. And if I didn't make him better, then, it would be 3-4 years before he's ready, or 2-3-4 years. I actually don't know with this new roster update. So, if he was a winger, I would love to draft him with Logan, right? And for anyone who's saying, well, you could have Logan and Connor McDavid 1-2 punch, they both belong on the first line eventually, right? So, I'm not saying I wouldn't want to draft him, but to trade Joe Thornton or Patrick Marleau just for the first overall pick, and then to have Connor and Logan on your team, it's just too many of the same players. I'd like to get a defenseman in there. I'd like to get a winger. And that's why I'd rather trade Joe for a specific player instead of getting a player that will turn into a position that we already have covered, right? So Connor McDavid, I'm not going to say no to him, but we already have that position covered. Matthew Barzal, same thing. I don't know if he'll become only a top 4, though. I'd rather draft him, because I think I've seen him before at 4.5-star potential, and he might be a better guy to put behind Logan. McDavid will belong on the first line. I'm pretty sure he's got the green star potential. Barzal, I don't think so. Travis Konecny, same thing as center playmaker. All right, so there's a lot of center playmakers in this draft. Nicholas Malak. 2-way defender, 17. That might not be a bad one to get another defender for our team. Oliver Kylington, offensive defenseman. All right. Gabriel Gagne, power forward, 6'4". Jesus. Jeremy or Yare. Oh, whatever. I know what that accent aigu. I just can't pronounce it right now. Jeremy Roy, offensive defenseman, right-handed. There's a lot of depth defensemen down here. Yeah, Ryan Pylon, 2-way defender. Leva Lee, offensive defenseman. Yeah, there's plenty of guys down here. The only thing, I think with all these guys, they're all like 4-star or 3.5-star. So I think if you want to get like that 4.5-star forward, it's got to be Connor McDavid or Barzal. Maybe this guy. I don't know about this guy. But these two guys look like the top 2 guys. All right, so if we want a 4.5-star playmaking center, it's gonna have to be a top 2 pick that we acquire. I'll just go down here to show you guys any depth players that you may see that we can maybe pick up. Bittner might be like a 4-star power forward that we could pick up mid-draft. All right, Nicholas Roy, I've seen him before at like 4-star, but I've also seen him at 3.5-star, so I don't know. Go down here, yeah, and then we're getting into. I think Sprong is like a 4.5 Red Star sniper. Could be wrong. I don't really remember seeing him get too much better though. So there you go. You guys can see the what's it called? The draft picks that are available if we want to move up in the draft. But now here's the important part of this video. I want to show you guys basically which players are available around the NHL. You guys, I know, already have a good sense of, it's only year 2, right? So the players that I made in year 1, they're going to be pretty similar, the young prospects. And that's what I want. I want guys who are ready to go. So you guys already know players that could fill in for this team. Goaltenders, we have to sign Niemi, so we're going to have to sign him. I don't want to just let him walk. But, do you guys think Niemi's a good enough goalie to go into next year with? If not, we got to sign a goalie or trade for one because Chiarelli's not good enough. So goaltender, that's on the docket. Defenseman, Shattenkirk is fine. Vlasic is fine. Irwin is fine. Demers is fine. Braun, he's kind of dropped off a little bit. All right, so at least for defensemen, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 defensemen that we like. Shattenkirk can play on the top line. Vlasic, no. So a left-handed top 2 defenseman wouldn't be a bad idea. All right, we have the 2 top 4s, and then we can pick up a top 6. Or just use Greiba. But a top 2 defenseman to play alongside of Shattenkirk wouldn't be a bad idea. I wouldn't want to put Vlasic on the first line as a defensive defenseman. I want to get like a 2-way defenseman. Or, more importantly, an offensive defenseman. I'd love to get an offensive defenseman to play alongside of Shattenkirk. Alright, so an offensive defenseman, boys, who's in the top 4 or the top 2. I wouldn't mind getting. Alright, and then forwards, again, you got, if we're going to trade away Joe and Marleau, so don't worry about those guys. Logan is your first-line center. Joe Pavelski's your second-line center, right? Burns and Gallagher is your right wingers. I guess you could put Burns on the first line, Gallagher on the second line. But then as your left wingers, you really don't have anybody. Let's see. Yeah, you're trading away Marleau. You have some depth, but you really don't have much. So if we're going to trade for players, 2 young sniping left wingers might be a good idea, right? Especially for that second line. If we're going to have Gallagher and Pavelski together, 2-way forward, power forward, I want to get like a goal scorer to play alongside of those guys. I thought Patrick Marleau would help them, but apparently not. So 2, left wingers. That's what I'm talking about with Connor McDavid. If we're going to trade, it might be a good idea to trade for a first-line left winger instead of drafting Connor McDavid. That's all I'm saying. So, we know what we need. The first-line offensive defenseman and a first- and second-line left winger. So, let's just quickly take a look at players on the block, all right? So, hang on. Do I have any first-round picks this year? I don't think I do. No, we only have our pick this year, okay? And it's going to be somewhere like 23 or 22 overall or something like that. All right, so it's not the greatest pick this year. But let's just go through the teams. Oh, what the hell? Hit my mic. Let's go through the teams and see if there's anybody available that we can pick up. All right, so Frederick Gauthier from the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's 65 overall, though, all right? So it's one of those players that you get, but they're not ready to play for 4 or 5 years, so it's a waste for Logan. Our team right now, if we're trading Joe and Marleau, is Logan and Kevin Shattenkirk, all right? So we got to find players that would complement them. Well, let's just go through some. Seth Griffith. Yeah, Griffith, 74 overall. I don't know how long that would take for this guy to get better. He is a right wing, though, I believe. Yeah, right wing. All right, so there's one player right there. Calgary Flames, Carolina Hurricanes. Ryan Hartman, 61. No, he's a prospect. There's usually more players on the block. Maybe when once I actually go up to the draft. Nicholas Backstrom, all right, 86 overall goalie. Don't need that. Any of those 2 guys? No, I don't need them. You know what I might have to do? I might have to skip ahead one day just so that other teams stack up their trading block a little bit more. Yeah, there's usually more players on the trading block than that. Hang on. Let's go ahead one day, come back into it now. I want you guys to be able to see. I can just go through the trading block and check them out. But usually, is it going to be the same? Let me just fly through this, see if there's any new players. Yeah, there is. All right. Sometimes I've seen a few more players, especially like prospects, pop up here. I guess not this year. We are year 2. Maybe it was just year 1 I was talking about. No. Yeah, all right. So I can't show you any players from there, but we can still use the trading block to just see any players that we can pick up. All right, so watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go just the potential, all right, because it doesn't matter what age. I just want to see potential forward. Doesn't matter where he plays. All right, let's go to centers, left wingers. All right, so the left wingers in the NHL right now who are under the age of 26, who still have a growth period with a 4.5-star potential, all right, are all these guys right here. Jonathan Drouin, Max Pacioretty, James Van Riemsdyk, Andre Burakovsky, Jamie Benn, Jeff Skinner, Taylor Hall, Evander Kane, Gabriel Landeskog, Anthony Mantha, Matt Mistiel. If we sort by overall, you got Pacioretty, JVR, Ben, Hall, Kane, Landeskog, all right, these guys. But right here, Jonathan Drouin and up are the only players that could basically play for us. These guys down here ain't good enough to play next year, all right? And when you're looking at these players, yeah, you can pick up Jonathan Drouin from Tampa, but that's a lot of trade value. You'd have to trade away like Joe Thornton and Marleau, give up both of our trading assets, right? Or you could go for a guy like Jeff Skinner, who is got 5 years left at 5.7. That's why he's so low in the trade values, because you're accepting that big trade. But, I mean, that's a doable contract for a first-line left winger, right? So you could trade for Jeff Skinner and maybe pick up something else from Carolina because the trade value is so low. And Jeff Skinner with Logan, that might not be a bad combination. Gabriel Landeskog, no, the Colorado Avalanche wouldn't trade him. He's the captain. Vander Kane, that might not be a bad one. Same thing, I think. Yeah, 5.25 for 4 years. Trade value nice and low. And Taylor Hall from the Edmonton Oilers, same thing, all right? So I think from this list, the 3 players that look promising would be Taylor Hall, Vander Kane, and Jeff Skinner, all right? And we could find maybe somebody else in that within those teams to trade for to improve. All right, if we want to take a look at right wingers just to see, you got Tarasenko, a little bit high of a trade value. No, there's not really any right wingers, right? So there's 3 players that I pointed out for you guys. Now let's just lower it one more time. All right, 4-star. There you go. It's going to be a lot of players this time, but let's just try it out. Left wingers, and I'm going to sort by overall. So here's the same guys again. All right, Ryan O'Reilly, but he's a two-way forward. Kreider, power forward. Saad, two-way forward. I think Schwartz is a playmaker. Might not be a bad one. His trade value is not that high up. Conacher, playmaker. Really low trade value. Barcheesy, Niederreiter, Silverberg, Tartar, Bennett. All right, all these guys. Yeah, you're starting to get a little bit low. I'd say it's, no lower than Schwartz. Or 81's not bad. This is more like the second line left winger, right? The second line left winger for these guys. So I've shown you guys who could be our first line left wingers. I've shown you guys a list of who could be our second line left wingers. We don't have to trade for them, right? But I'm just showing you guys. And last but not least, defense. Top 2. Let's just see all the top 2 defensemen first. See, this is what I mean. If we want that top 2 defenseman, you really have to trade for, you have to give up a lot to get that defenseman back. You got Bufflin, Hamuse, Kronwall. I mean, these guys are going to be so hard to trade for. All right? So you can see all those players. Or what you could do is go to, what is it? Any defenseman. There you go. Go to potential. There you go. Oh, no, hang on. Make sure it's medium. There you go. All right, medium, and let's see who's available defenseman. Just go to overall. All right, so no. All right, so here it gets good. Ekman-Larsson, that would be perfect because he's an offensive defenseman. A lot of cap space right there, but he's an offensive defenseman. Is he left-handed? He's left-handed, so Shattenkirk and Oliver Ekman-Larsson would be a perfect 1-2 pairing on the top line. And he could legitimately become a top 2 defenseman. All right, so I like what Oliver Ekman-Larsson brings. Dougie Hamilton, yeah. Cam Fowler, same thing as Oliver Ekman-Larsson, offensive defenseman. I like that. Ryan Murray, here, I'll show you guys the salary. Fowler's got 5 and 4 years left. Ekman-Larsson's got 5.5 and 5 years left. Cam Fowler, is he left-handed? Yeah, he's left-handed. He might be the right choice right there. Riley, Ekblad, Lindholm, 81 overall. Yeah, you're starting to drop off a little bit. So, yeah, it really is like Cam Fowler or Oliver Ekman-Larsson for that first one. I like those 2 guys, right? So there you go, boys. I've shown you the players that we could trade for if you want to reload and come back strong for next year. But if you guys think it would be a smarter idea to do a complete, utter rebuild with this team, then I can do that too. But then guys like Logan Couture and Kevin Shattenkirk, they're not completely safe. I wouldn't trade them away first, but, if you're doing that rebuild, maybe to trade them away for guys who are, 20, 21, 22 years old and build a core around those guys. I just don't want to have the next 3-4 years of being not a playoff team and wasting Logan Couture and Kevin Shattenkirk, all right? So we'll leave it right there. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know. And don't worry, there's going to be more frequent GM modes coming out in the future. All right, boys? That's all. We'll see you there.